taxes, inflation, and the breakdown of the family are causing us to fall behind. We have the lowest net worth in the United States, and I'm sure those numbers cross the border as well.
Some people get the disability tax credit and they don't open the registered disability savings fund, and that's where the government puts in all the money of grants and bonds for a person with a disability who has done all the steps. Some people don't do all the steps.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020. Why don't I go 2020 first? 2018 Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers, sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live November 8th. And in Toronto, the weather's not bad for this time of year. It's fall-like. Unfortunately, I've got a pile of leaves. Like this time of year, it just seems like raking leaves is never ending. And I don't have any trees on my property. But my next door neighbor to my left and another neighbor across the street have big, huge trees. So when it gets windy, guess who gets all the leaves to rake? So I don't know if anyone else can relate with that situation. But yeah, I've got leaves to rake that are not mine. So, hey, what can I do? What can I say? But it's good exercise. For those who know, usually they're my partner in this endeavor, Ryan O'Neill Knight. He says he may drop in halfway through the show. So if you don't see Ryan, he's busy with stuff. Already got our first comment. Minnie on cam says, leaves blow around. And she says also leaves. Yes, I get leaves on balcony from trees. Wow. On your balcony? Woo. All right. So let's get some house stuff done. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We're now past 1,590 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you very much for doing that. And share it out, and tell people about it. Would love to get them to subscribe. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I appear on, please email me dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. Also, join our Discord group. And I've been lax. I've really got to post replays of previous epic conversations of the Morning Vibe in our Discord group. So hold me to it. By Monday, for sure, you'll see a bunch, because late this afternoon, I'm just going to sit back in front of my laptop and just start reposting. Also, we're also good friends collaborating with Indie Soup Media, which is an independent content creators platform powered by our good friend, Dr. Tachi, out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with over 40 independent content creators, and in about 8 months, over 20,000 YouTube
So
JG Mar says 45 and 47 second term will be more chaotic. Yeah, I actually saw a post this morning, or a story this morning, someone saying, yeah, the Project 2025 is going, you believe it, it's going to be, and there are Republicans saying it is going to be part of 47's second term. So, and I know there's like a significant African-American journalist, Roland Martin, who was doing a lot of media stuff on his platform before Kamala Harris, and he's now coined this hashtag we told you so. And what he means by that is all the people who voted for 45, who's now going to be 47, when they get hit by his policies and people come, we're just going to say, hey, we told you so. We told you so. Hey, Fitness IQ Cam says, good morning. I actually had she allowed me to be part of her 200th show last Saturday, and it was quite an interesting conversation. So thanks for allowing me on, and definitely check out Things I Knew About Money on Saturday afternoons on her YouTube platform. So go to Fitness IQ Cam on YouTube. But yeah, what are people thinking? Like, I wasn't surprised. If you follow the Dr. Vibe Show, we did a 4-hour live watch party this past Tuesday during the conversation. And of course, another conversation I do live primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Tomorrow night, the ladies are going in, but it's a few days after, and there are already articles about, oh, Miss Harris didn't do this, Miss Harris didn't do that. So the knives are already out. So I have a feeling in America, especially, you're going to see Republican rule for a long time in the White House. And realize, and I don't know if the House has been declared yet, but the Senate is now run by the Republicans. So the White House and the Senate, if the House goes to Republicans also, you're going to see all three federal levels of government controlled by one party. For those who are into money, stock markets went up in the United States. So it's all over the place. Surprised no one else is really making comments about this. Quiet. People are so like a lot of people, but in my mind, it's really, really interesting. The support that 45, who's now 47, got from non-melanated women. Okay. So Minnie on Cam says, my work colleagues in the USA are upset over it, but I told them moving to Canada is not better. We have no housing or health care. Well, we have better health care than they do. I will say that we have better health care than they do. And I think there is, especially if you're melanated like myself and others, I think you may be a little bit safer in Canada, maybe at the present time, but who knows? But there's also a federal election coming up in Canada next year. JG Marr says, Democratic Party is in shambles. Some Black Americans are talking about establishing their own independent party. Definitely. Minion Cam says we have a primary doctor shortage. Yes, we do. But the thing in the United States, they may not have a shortage, but you pay through the nose to get medical care in the United States. So I guess there's if and and. But yeah, JG Mars saying Democratic Party, yeah, it's in shambles. They don't know what's going on, which way is up. They're going to have to do a long debrief on this. A long debrief, and who's going to be a future leader. Also, it brings the question, is America ready for a female president? 45 beat Hillary Clinton. 45 has beaten Kamala Harris. Anytime a lady has run for president, it hasn't happened. And a lot of people are saying not even non-melanated women are in that lane. So it's more divided than ever in the United States. And hey, what can we say? All right. So since you guys are quiet, we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to bring up a friend we haven't had on for a little while because he's been very busy. He'll be catching up on some of the stuff he's been doing, and then he'll go a little bit deep dive. Mr. Perry Douglas will be back with us in just a moment.
Hey, Dr. Vibe, this is Nigel Gordyke checking in from Waterloo in Southwest Ontario. I love your show, especially how it takes conversations that we're having in the community and expands them into the broader community, so more and more people can get involved and engaged. That expands on the topics and takes them to a wider audience, and it enables more of us to feel engaged and part of the community. Thank you for including me in one of those conversations recently. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Much love.
All right, that's Nigel Gordyke, who was on just this past Monday. And if you didn't catch that conversation, go to the YouTube channel, and I will get the repeat published in our Discord group. But he was so kind to give a testimonial, and we're really happy about that. Again, Morning Vibe. So we have not chatted with Perry Douglas for a while, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. And finally, we got him to put on his brakes. And before we went on live, he said, "Oh well, he hasn't got his winter tires on yet, but he has his wife's winter tires on, so he knows who's the boss in his household. Get the winter tires on first." So let's bring back, haven't seen him a while, always a pleasure to have him, Mr. Perry Douglas. What's going on?
Nothing much. Everything is good, working hard, tired, but it's all good. Rather be busy than anything else.
Well, yes. I'm one of these people, I'd rather be dead than bored. Good morning, Frequency Event Promotions. Hope you're doing fine. Scott Gree says, the men in our, and I don't like this is another, I just call it the C word because I don't believe that C word exists. Use quote trauma unquote as a crutch because they are beta cucks filled with effeminate energy and can't fight enough through adversity. Pathetic. Okay, Scott, tell us how you really feel.
Scott is right, because look what happened in the U.S. election, right? I was watching some shows, and you said these black men voted for Trump, right? These black men, the reason why Trump went after them is because he knows that they're fragile. You play to their ego. They are complaining and they're blaming. Black women have been carrying the load for our entire community for generations. Black women are the ones who have actually been doing the work, right? Black women, not black men. And there's a percentage of, everybody will know who they are. So nobody get offended if it doesn't apply to you, okay? So many black men out there are weak and fragile. So when a guy like Trump comes, they become vulnerable to them, to Trump, because they're fragile, right? Because instead of taking care of their business, taking care of their homes, taking care of their families, okay? And like I said, making sure the winter tires goes on your wife's car first before it goes on yours. That's the thinking, right? Right? They look for excuses and they sit there in their emotions and they blame everybody except themselves. And they don't take what we call personal responsibility for your life and what you've created for your children and all that. Okay? Well, that's a truth, and we must be honest with that. Not all black men, the vast majority are absolutely fine. But you know, Trump and plays on that weak link. It's always that weak link.
Well, the thing is, too, the number. Okay, I'm going to get to the cons. Well, I won't. No, you know
go
what?
ahead, yeah.
The word. I break down the word responsibility as response and ability.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Response and ability. And as you see, 45 plus and 47, he really went after young men.
Correct.
To vote for him. And then a lot of men.
Yep.
And well, a number of men in America felt that the Democratic Party is anti-male, anti-masculine.
It's the dumbest thing. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, but when you make excuse, but this is what happens when you.
But emotions versus fact, and that again, this election, part of me says this. Most of this American election was based on feelings, not facts.
And when you live your life on feelings versus facts, you end up losing over and over and over again.
All right. Frequency Event Promotion says Perry Douglas is bringing the heat. Well, he always does. So I don't. You've seen him on before.
I only have one speed, man.
There you go. Dr. Tachi says Minion Cam. You know I can't stand galas. Fitness IQ says wild comments happening. Okay. And then Dr. Tachi says, and this is why we have collectively decided as Black women that we are done. Shirley Josma says, I do acknowledge that some of us have achieved in life for themselves, but as a C word, we're still struggling. And then JJ Mars says, I was an NAACP member a few years ago. I dumped that organization. They never really did anything for the C word. They financed by the J group.
Yeah.
Yes. There you go. Yes.
Yeah. I think Dr. Tachi has a good point. I mean, the fact is, it's undeniable. Black women have disproportionately carried, they're not responsible for black men. They're not responsible for, dating a black man, doing whatever. They're responsible for themselves because, there's no alpha males out there. So, I mean, black women have to continue doing what they're doing. And I think, we really have to understand that we can get also caught in, I don't know if it's the right word, but sort of this identity politics, and your politics is going to be based on your color or whatnot. I think we have to focus on what is going to create intergenerational wealth for us and what we're going to do, right? So I come from a family, right? On both sides, but just on my father's side, I come from a family where I had grandparents, dark-skinned, Black African, right? And what they were able to do, they were able to create a small business, a bakery, a gas station, and send at least 8 of their kids to be educated. Okay? All right? Because, I remember my grandmother always used to say that, my grandmother Mello always used to say that, you got to get education and you got to do this. And because you're Black, you got to work hard. So she didn't make excuses, right? She didn't make excuses. And my grandfather, Daddy Bouge, he instilled wisdom and strength of mind in them. So they were able to go out, be very successful, and now all those things are passed down to me, this generation. And I'm going to pass down those things to my kids and so on and so on. So if we don't establish, a particular mindset for winning and succeeding, we're always going to be spinning and going nowhere. And that's why that's why I say mindset determines your future.
All right. Comments are flying. The Macmillan Group says, that is spot on, Perry. I have observed since migrating here, many Black American men have abandoned their purpose and role, have made it easy to manipulate them. Andrew says, everyone knows that Black men have become fragile. I hear this inside my business network all the time. What's worse is I see young Black men being positioned for complete failure in an alpha world.
Yeah, this is an alpha world, man.
Yeah.
Like, where you think, what do you want to be? You want to be a lion or you want to be a flipping hyena? You know what I mean? Like what?
JJ Mars says, Dr. Tachi says, JJ Mars, I was president of my college chapter. I haven't been a member since. There was no cultivation of next generation of leaders. Yeah. And then Mignon Camp says, that might be why I don't date Black men since high school. My mother had to bribe me to bring home a Black boyfriend, but I see how they are too. Beta.
Yeah, well, let's not
okay. The Macmillan Group says the Gen Z American male is probably the weakest generation ever to ever live, Black or white. That's the true. Macmillan Group goes, Dr. Tachi, but being done makes it hard. Is that a solution? And then Macmillan, she replies back to the Macmillan Group, mortgages and constantly coming out to the rescue is not the solution. We can't keep fighting at the expense of our own health and
100%. 100%.
You got the fire going today, my brother.
100%. But these are all truths, right? These are all truths, and we must speak truth, because without truth, you can't change. If you're not speaking truth, then you're not being real, and if you're not being real in the real world, you can't change it, or you can't change yourself. So it's important that we be honest with us. Donald Trump is telling you, like my article said, nobody's coming to save you. Right. Absolutely nobody. You have to save yourself. This reliance on others is just nuts.
So I just want to ask, you seem to emphasize the importance of self-reliance and personal accountability. Yes. In what ways do you think the Black C word can take more ownership of its future?
By everybody doing their job. When I was in university, I played football. I remember I was a cornerback, right? And I remember the defensive coach always said, everybody do their job. Don't worry about somebody else's job. If everybody plays their position and do their job, we're going to have a strong defense, or whether it's offense or whatnot. Everybody do their job. If everybody's doing their job, what happens, how do you make a whole? You make a whole from a scientific perspective, how do you make a whole? You make a whole by individual particles. So from a physics perspective, if there's multiple things, particles, whatever you want to call it, that builds the whole, then you're going to have a strong whole. But if you don't have individual, right, contributing and strengthening their own position, okay, it's impossible to build a whole. What happens is we work, we try to do it in reverse, top down, right? Where we, let's get together, let's do this, but nothing ever happens. Nothing succeeds except from the bottom up. You have to do it from the bottom up. Everybody does their job. And as everybody does their job, we can move forward.
All right. I just want to, I know you're always a guy that got a lot. How much
Yeah.
time do you have for us? Because I just heard you got a phone call or a notification. How much time do you comfortably have?
Yeah, it's fine. I gotta make, yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because good conversation going on, lots of engagement going on here.
Yeah.
So Scott Grieve says Black women are the only group on earth that can legitimately claim victimhood because their men have been an epic collective failure
Yeah.
filled with self-hate.
But yet Black women don't do that. Okay.
Frequency Event Promotion says, Perry, curious, do you know of business owners in Toronto that see the need to market and promote their business in partnership?
I mean, there's tons of businesses out there. I mean, you have to go out there and hustle and find that information yourself, right? So,
Okay,
I
no
mean,
problem.
There's tons of businesses out there. I can't like sit there and pick one.
Them out of the area.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like to give information or advice unless I have a more detailed information in front of me.
100%. The Macmillan Group says, but Perry, we grew up in a multi-generational environment with strong extended family support system.
Yeah.
Has the absence of that family structure created some of the deficits we see today?
Well, 100%. You have young Black males being almost acting like husbands to their single mothers, in the sense, right? And then you also have, Black women trying to grow a young Black man, teaching him how to be strong, and for me, it's not saying that the Black woman can't do that, because they've been doing that. But what I'm saying, with the breakdown of the family without a male in the house, yes, if you don't have a male in the house, like, honestly, I treat my son differently than I treat my daughters, right? Because my son has to be a 6'2" Black male, right, in communities and face things that face obstacles. I have to prepare him for that. That's my job. And I can't give anything except the reality of how the world works. Because if I try to comfort him, and if I try to show him that, oh, the world really isn't this harsh or whatnot, I'm building a weak Black male. And we don't need weak Black males. We need strong Black males. We need Black males to be, if they're going to get married, take marriage serious. Take the fact that you have a responsibility for that family. Okay. Listen, I have daughters, so I'm a feminist too, right? But what I'm saying is that I told my daughters, that man has to bring something to the table. And I tell my son that woman has to bring something to the table, because you're going to try to live in Toronto, right, and afford a house in Toronto. If your combined income is not at least $300,000 a year, good luck, right? So this is the reality, okay? So if you understand the reality, you have an opportunity, okay, to make the right moves to succeed in this existing reality. But if you don't understand the reality and you're not honest about how the world works, you're going to suffer. That's just the way it is.
All right. Mignon Cam says, do your due diligence in partnership, business, or marriage. True. So let me ask here.
Mm-hmm.
Some critics argue that focusing too much on personal responsibility ignores systemic racism and institutional barriers that Black people face. How do you balance the need for self-reliance with the reality of systemic oppression?
I really don't understand that question, and I wonder the context of that question and so for me, from an applied intelligence perspective, I always like to go back and see the source of the question and the contextualization of that question, because that question makes, doesn't really make sense. So where'd that information come from? Just quickly. Oh, I've lost you.
Some people have come to me with that.
Okay, I see. Okay,
statement.
Okay.
So I just
good.
sharing with you in your response to it.
Okay, no problem. So I understand that. No, that's important. So I understand the context of the question.
No problem.
I don't think you can. Personal responsibility is fundamental to every human being, right? So the existence of institutional racism is real. It's true. Like, we understand that. But I'm trying to connect how not having, I don't know if that's the question, not taking personal, or trying to say making too much of personal responsibility. That's your life. That's your situation. That's dealing with your family. That's your reputation, right? That's you. So and this is what often happens to Black people. That's what white supremacy does to you. You get distracted by the fact that institutional racism exists, right? So because institutional racism exists, you're going to say you should diminish your personal responsibility, because your personal responsibility is what helps you make it in the world. Because what happens is that you take responsibility, okay, for what's happening, and you make no excuses, right? But two things are true. Yes, there's institutional racism, but why would you abdicate your personal responsibility? So I don't really.
You're okay. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's fine.
Yeah.
So JG Mars says, Mignon Cam, totally. I once had potential business partners, but after seeing what they were really about, I said, no, I don't want to deal with them. I want to move in the area of political and social engagement. So in terms of political engagement, how can Black people better understand and influence systems of power that affect their lives?
I mean, from that specific, right? So everything flows, political power flows from economic power, as we see money in politics, right? However, how Obama won and how Biden won is Black people went out and voted. I would say with Hillary and Kamala Harris, probably not everybody voted as they've done in the past. So if you have nothing else, no economic power, you do have a vote, right? But when you got Black men voting for Trump, I mean, like, what can I tell you, man? Like, I was listening to one guy, voting, and they asked a Black guy from the polling station, who did you vote for? And he said, oh, I voted for Donald Trump. This guy couldn't put two words together. He couldn't put two words together. I doubt if that guy could even read, right? So this is the level, right? This is the level. So this is why these guys are so fragile and they're so vulnerable. And Donald Trump knows that. You're smart enough. Give them credit for, listen, it's all about winning for them. The Republican Party, it's all about winning for them.
Power.
And that's what happens.
Power.
It's about power. Right? So they cone the message to vulnerable, fragile Black males. Right? My job is to make sure my Black male that I have responsibility for doesn't become that.
So I want to continue. There's often debate about whether Black people should work within the system or create change, or take more radical approaches. Where do you stand on this?
No, you can't. That's the whole point of outside reality. You have to work within you. So you have to understand, right? In physics, for example, okay, why physics is important. Because it gives you what you can and what you cannot do. So physics gives you limitations. And if outside, when you look at the science of physics, okay, there are limitations. You just can't do that. So we live in a physical world, right? Even in a metaphysical, but we have to understand that this is the reality we live in. What we have to do is we have to build our own personal strategies to exist in one reality. Trying to create a reality outside of reality, if is nonsense. And that's why, because trying to create a reality that doesn't exist, right? Think about it. You're trying to create a reality that can't exist, because there's only one universe, there's only one world. Okay? So what you do is carve out your own piece of the universe by your actions. Trying to, for example, all the things that came after George Floyd, organizations and all, a lot of these things have been tried in the US already and have failed. But people, because they don't read history, didn't know that. So they jump into these programs whole, right? And then we wonder why we're not successful. There's only one reality, and we have to learn to understand reality, manage reality, deal with reality, and carve out our own, our own power,
Our own path.
our own path in the time and space, in the infinitesimal time and space that we exist on this planet, because you only go around once. So if you're wasting time trying to find another planet with a different reality where Black people have all the power there, well, I'm not getting on that spaceship.
Okay, Scott Grease says, I know many intelligent Black men that voted for 45, 47. Labeling them as dumb is a mistake. Macmillan Group says, while we have no stats, my observation is that more of the unintelligent group of Black men voted red as opposed to blue.
Yes, and that's very important. What Ray's saying there is that this, I think Scott can say he knows many, but that's not a good sample size. Okay.
All right.
So we got to use data and facts. What Ray is saying is more statistically, factually accurate, because from the demographical statements that we've seen and from the data, it is the non-educated Black males, okay, who are fragile, that's voting for Trump. Not to say there isn't, a percentage of Black male, but what we're looking for is we're looking for the majority, okay, from a statistical perspective. So, we have to use proper sample size. And Ray's point is more factual than just saying, oh, I know of somebody, or I know this.
So Scott then says the problem with our people are easily led to these delusional agendas that lead our people away from reality are propagated on the community by Black-faced gatekeepers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Another conversation piece for you. With the rapid advancement of technology and the changed nature of work, what skills or areas of education do you think Black people need to focus on to stay competitive in the future economy?
Yeah, we have to continuously improve our skills and learn to work with technology, and learn to work with information, technology. What I would say is that, I don't believe AI is going to replace humans. I don't believe, AI is going to just replace everybody and there's going to be a world full of robots. But what I believe, will happen is the same thing that's always happened with technology. And this is why you have to go out. There's a really good book out there which talks about the last 1,000 years of technology. So what those patterns show is that when new technologies are introduced, right, people who are ambitious, people who've done the work, are educated, whatever, those people will learn to work with the prevailing technology of the day and improve their value and improve their worth to the marketplace, right? Those people who haven't been doing those things will fade away and they will be replaced. So technology doesn't change human nature, okay? Actually, what happens with AI and stuff like that, it simply replaces the people who don't take the time to understand it and work with it and enhance their value. And one of the things, from a plug for our technology, one of the things 6AI does, it's a human-centric piece of technology from an AI perspective. So what we do is that people who work with our technology will improve their worth to the enterprise and to the marketplace, right? That's what our technology does. But again, we can't change ambition. Technology doesn't make you smarter. Those who are smart and are working hard and ambitious will figure out how to align with technology to prosper in the universe, and those who won't, and the world will be the same thing. Nothing ever changes. Times change, technology changes, but human nature doesn't change.
Okay. J.G. Marsh says many Black Chicagoans were so angry and upset about what was happening in their city. They were shouting 45's name, thinking he would be the savior because of the Democratic leadership failing.
So I want to comment on that. This is the point. We're always relying on others, political party. Now it's crazy. Now we're relying on Donald Trump. It's nuts. Rely on yourself. Rely on your own community. Okay, everybody's, oh, you do it, you do it, you do it. Everybody, you know what happens? People create organizations and people look at political parties because they don't want to do it themselves. They make excuses. I'm not, for me, trying to build a tech business, get investors as a black male is almost an impossibility. But if I sit here and complain and think about that, it'll never happen. I guarantee you. Persistence beats resistance every time. But when you rely on others, parties, organizations, to be the arbiters of your life, you're going to fail. You have to become the arbiter of your life. You have to build bottom up. And of course, then you can work with parties and organizations and whatnot. But you got to actually do the work. Nothing happens without the work.
Yeah, a lot of times when we don't succeed, we have to look at we did everything we could.
Yeah, listen, excellent. If I don't succeed, right, this is not going to happen. But if I don't succeed, and to your point, I know I've done everything I could. So to me, it's not a failure, right? It's like, but I think as an entrepreneur, I failed, get up and do it again. Now I have more knowledge, do it better the next time.
So I want to ask you, given the global nature of the Black diaspora, how important is it for Black people in Canada to form alliances with Black communities in other parts of the world?
I think it's very important. I mean, I look at my tech team, right? My tech team is all Black, right? And I have my CTO. He's not all Black, but he's a person of color in North Africa, in Morocco. I have my marketing guy in Silicon Valley. He's also a person of color, right? Not Black, but he's from Morocco. But they both have those are all colonized, so they all understand. And funny enough, they even have those same kind of issues in their own community. So for me, we had a meeting with an investor the other day, and I had my CFO in Barbados, CTO in Morocco, head of marketing in Silicon Valley, right? So we have to form alliances on a global basis because the world is connected digitally. You don't have to physically fly out there to do it. We can build a piece of software. We don't even have to see each other because everything comes to the computer. So we can create those alliances, and there is really no excuse. Like, stop. My mom used to say, or my grandma used to say, stop coming and come, right? So I'm going to say, stop doing and do, right? Let's just, you got to just start. You got to just go. You're going to make mistakes, okay? But when you make mistakes, you learn from your mistakes, and you pick yourself up, and you keep going. And one of the things from a Stoic wisdom perspective says, be responsible for everything that happens in your life, even if it's not your fault. Because once you do that, you have less anxiety, you're less emotional, and you're just dealing with the problem at hand. But when we put so much emotion into our decisioning, we become fragile. But to be successful, you have to become anti-fragile. Okay? And then when your mindset is anti-fragile, then you become all-powerful. And then you become unbeatable, unstoppable. And that's what you have to become if you want to compete in this world. It's just the way it is.
So in the Macmillan Group, Ray says, I know an FIU graduate, that's a Florida International University, I believe, economics graduate who became a self-taught plumber through using technology to create high-earning business for himself. The ability to think creates opportunity.
100%.
And then he says also, Dr. Vibe, there is no Black Canadian. There are Black Canadian immigrants living in silos. Their interconnectivity of those groups is paramount before we can think globally. And he says, the word of the day, stoicism. Repeat that word several times. Actually, if you're interested in finding out more about that, there is a website and you can it's called the Daily Stoic. And they send out, you can get daily emails of great thought process.
I would say if you're really interested in stoicism, you go buy the books, ancient. One great book is Ancient Ancient philosophy for modern wisdom. And if you really want, here it is. I even have it on my desk. Okay, this book here,
Okay.
Marcus Aurelius,
Yes.
Meditation.
Yes.
Okay, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor King, is the best Stoic of all time. Now he came after the Aristotles and in ancient Greece, and then when a lot of those guys went to Rome, Marcus Aurelius was a very thoughtful. So at night, on the battlefield, he will sit there and write these things. And if you want, pick up a book, read Marcus Aurelius, read the book, underline it, take notes. That's how you learn. You can't replace a book. So I would say, Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. That's the book.
I'm also gonna. So Frequency Event Promotion says, what was the name of that website, Dr. Vibe? And also Ray says, great book, Perry. Every Black man needs to own and read. And
100%.
what I'm gonna add is actually the website. There's a website called The Daily Stoic.
Yes, I know that website. Yeah,
and I'm gonna put that on the chat. In the chat on most of the platforms where you're watching this live on the replay. Great website. And again, you can sign up for their daily newsletter.
Yep.
Great stuff.
And
Great
they'll give you lots of different books to recommend.
Yes.
And all that. No, it's a great website. But like Ray said, pick up Meditations. Anybody, Stoicism has come back with a vengeance over the last 10 years. And all CEOs now are reading Stoicism. And Ray's right. All Black men should read, and women should read Marcus Aurelius Meditations. It is the standard, and this is last thousands of years, right? That tells you all good things, all old things are
foundational.
Always the best.
Foundational.
Yeah.
Frequency Event Promotions, thanks much. And how did I find out about Stoicism? From a Black man I highly respect named Dr. George Fraser.
Okay. Yeah.
He, a great Black man who told me about that. Let me ask, so what is, quote, getting serious, unquote, about the Black future look for Black people on a personal, communal, and global level?
So getting serious is just, again, just go back to reality in terms of how the real world works. Understand how the real world works, and get serious and just deal with reality and try to work within reality, and don't go out there and trying to fall in for all these programs, organizations that are telling you, this is this. Nothing has changed in terms of the formula for success, irrespective of race or color. Nothing has changed. Stick to the fundamentals. All right. Go back to the fundamentals.
So what gives you hope for the future of Black people in the 21st century, despite the challenges you've outlined?
Because you know what? I think I had a cousin of mine sent out something the other day on the family chat. Like, look, is what, for over 400 years we're still here, right? But now what we have to do is we can't use the same type of thinking that we did in the 50s and the 60s from a civil rights perspective, because the world has changed. At that point in time, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all those guys, the world was different, and we needed to fight for those civil rights. Okay, now we have to fight more and more with our minds, because we have the ability to go to school, have an education, start businesses. So the mind, we can change our mindset. And if we change our mindset to an adaptation of how, as you said, how the real world works, and build a strategy, build a strategy for growth, we'll be fine. It's the mind. It really comes down to how you think. It's everything think about it. How is the world made? It's made by people who think about things and then apply their intelligence accordingly to that. So it's the same thing. How do we think and apply our intelligence, right, to that? Okay. It's not very complicated. We have to have some courage. Don't make any excuses. And one thing I would say, what I've done since after Trump, I'm not listening to CNN. I'm not listening to pundit, because everybody now is looking to blame for this or blame for that. Listen, Trump is representation of America. That's it. Better then you don't know. Now you know, okay? So if you know and you still don't change your mindset, I mean, you're just asking for more failure and more suffering.
So then let me piggyback on that.
Mhm.
What should Black Canadians be thinking with an election coming next year?
Very good.
Pedro.
Very, that's an excellent question. I've been thinking about that, and I've been thinking, right? I'm looking at, this guy Poilievre, baby Trump, right? And I'm saying, Canada is not too far off, right? Canada is not too far off. There's, especially in the West, there's tons of, Trumpers and all that kind of stuff. So, you know what? I'm still thinking about that one. I don't know what Trump's victory is gonna be, how it's gonna affect the voters. I think the Liberal Party is smart by extending the election as long as possible, because we have time now for inflation, okay, and lower interest rates to work its way in, right, where people may see now lower prices, their mortgage rates go down. So if that happens, all the stuff that, the conservatives like, well, high inflation or whatnot, people don't understand how inflation works. People don't understand this inflation came because of COVID and the supply chain bottleneck, and and inflation was universal. But unfortunately, the voting public just thinks that the government created it. It's madness. Like people should do a test.
But it's so funny that this is my thought. People think we live in a democracy. We live in a capitalistic system.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. You think the politicians have anything to do with inflation?
No.
Right?
No, hold on a second. They don't, because to become a politician, elected politician, what does it take?
Nothing.
Money.
Money, yes, money. Yes.
Okay. Who on the most part gives politicians money to get elected?
Obviously, business people. Yeah.
Thank you. So when they get elected, who are they going to have to serve first?
Listen, man, the lobbies are, particularly the U.S., the lobbies are huge. And again, if we sit here believing that, we have power, we're not. The world is ruled by a capitalistic class and a network, right? And if you know that, all you're going to do is like, hey, I understand that, but now I'm living in reality. I got to figure out what I got to do to participate and create my own world and leave my kids legacies and all that. So yeah, I mean, I just think we need my message is, I just think we need to focus on reality, get serious. Like government, no one's coming to save you. A government program is not coming to save you. Organizations are not coming to save you. Even those people at the top of those organizations, they're just creating jobs for themselves, having galas, pure nonsense. Now, what you'll see in 2025, when all that money runs out, those people, will disappear. Those organizations disappear. And guess what? You look left, you look right, you're standing by yourself. So you now must stand and deliver in this universe by yourself. And that's how it is. Like I was saying the other day, you come into this world with nothing, you leave this world with nothing, and in between, nobody owes you anything. All right? You got to make it happen yourself. That's the nature of this is what I call the sophistication of self-preservation. Whether you're in the plains of Africa 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, trying to make stone tools to eat and protect yourself against the animals, to today, you have to create the tools in order or your mindset in order to think. And that's your applied intelligence that you have to activate. And nothing has changed. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Yeah.
So Macmillan Group goes.
Yep. I have a little bit of you're frozen there for a second.
No, okay, no. The question was,
yes.
I'll have to go back to hopefully and actually, how do you see 6AI disrupting the technology space, and where do you see the company 5 years from now? That's from Ray.
Yeah. So 6AI, basically, we don't believe ChatGPT is the future. Okay, we like if you really understand how general AI, generative AI works. ChatGPT is essentially a glorified search engine. Okay, that's why Google with Gemini now will compete. Facebook is building its thing. So generative AI, the likes of ChatGPT and all those things become commoditized. And what all they do is it's a glorified search engine. So they give you the information and that's it. What we do is we have a six-step process. That's why it's called 6AI. We have a six-step process, right? Which is our IP, which is the IP I wrote. That essentially helps you build a strategy where the software works with you and engages you with what we've called conversational questioning. So the conversational question is that if you have a bright idea from a strategy perspective, whether it's a business or anything else, you will engage with the machine in regards to that. And the machine, what I've built is what they call focused language models. What exists right now is large language models. So you ask it a question, it's broad and it takes a lot of data and it's very expensive to run. For focused language models, we only care. So if Dr. Vibe wants to build a marketing strategy to broaden his audience, Dr. Vibe will engage with the 6AI technology, ask the questions, and that focus model will be built specifically on Dr. Vibe's domain. Dr. Vibe doesn't care about trains and planes and automobiles. Dr. Vibe only cares about his domain and give you the information. And beyond giving you the information, we work all the way up to what we call the strategy canvas. So all that information comes into the strategy canvas and you literally get a strategy built out for you. So again, if you look at Canva, we are like the Canva of strategy. And we think 6AI will redefine strategy, particularly in the age of AI. And I'm going straight for ChatGPT. You know how it is. Like you go into the prison yard, you go for the biggest, baddest guy, and you knock him the hell out. That's my mindset, right? And if you don't have it, you're going to get slaughtered.
Freaking Fitness IQ says, stack up, start investing. Word of advice. The McMillan Group says, big cities like TO, New York City, and Los Angeles tend to be very liberal because they're a melting pot. The heartland of the nation is usually very different and usually have a monolithic approach to politics.
True.
And also McMillan Group says, self-preservation is the first law of nature. Lessons from my grandmother.
I want to just comment on that. So there's a I think the best modern day philosopher, Nassim Taleb. And Nassim Taleb says that you can learn more from your grandmother than from all these fancy know-it-all strategists or whatnot. So, yeah. And why is that? Because your grandmother has experience, okay? And that knowledge your grandmother is passing to you is based on real life experience, not based on, fancy PhDs and MBAs. So that's right.
So Ray has another group about question about 6AI. Says, is there an ask of potential investors, and what is that ask?
Yeah, we're out there raising. We're actually out there raising money. Ray, Ray is being very helpful with that, and this is a perfect example of coming together. So yeah, so I mean, if anybody right now we have a proper offer sheet, term sheet. Out there, and we're raising capital. So if anybody wants to take a look at the investment prospectus or anything like that, you can hit me up on either Facebook, or you can send me a note on Facebook, which is probably the best. I'm on LinkedIn too. Send me a message, and if you want to potentially look at being an investor, because that's the only way you're going to create wealth, we'll be happy to have you. And to be honest, right. I'm dealing with, maybe some larger investors, not necessarily VCs at this point, but, I've segregated, in my head, I've put aside a certain amount of the capital, the investment. So hopefully, people in our community will make an investment. We've made it structurally where you can buy units in smaller amounts, so you can participate. But what I want to tell people, we can do it too. I mean, how wealth is created is when you invest in a tech company, you invest at the early stages. As a tech company grows, the valuation grows. So people can see even a $25,000 investment turn into over $1 million, right? That's how it goes. But if you don't ever do it, and if you don't ever take the risk, you know what? It's never going to happen. So the only way to create wealth is to do the things and invest in order to create that wealth. There's no other way. And it's not about, oh, let this other person do it. No, you want to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. So yeah, so 6AI. You can also go to the website and take a look, 6AI.com.
All right, brother.
Yep.
You smashed it out of the park this morning. I'm telling you. That's any final thoughts for our audience today, our family?
No, man. Let's just go out there and do it. Don't stress about Trump or whatnot. Focus all your energy on what you can control. Be a stoic. Apply some stoic wisdom. Focus all the energy on what you can control, and don't get distracted with things that you can't control. Yeah. And if you do that, I think your results are going to be significantly better.
And think long term, not short.
And think long term.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not. Yes.
Because it took many of us many years to get to where it's not an overnight success.
Listen, man, you got to think long term. Don't cut corners. 100%. It is a long term thing, and I say, I most likely won't see the benefits. Okay, I'll be long gone. I won't see the benefits. But if I do what I have to do now to help lay the foundation, my children and my grandchildren and so forth, all I want is that I want to leave a legacy. Okay, but I want to leave a legacy not about talking about it. I want to leave a legacy about doing it. And on that note, actually, I have another book coming, hopefully in 2025. Yeah, it'll be. I learned a lot from my first book, but it'll be relative to what we're doing, and it'll be more focused for the general public as opposed to from a Caribbean perspective. But nice. Yeah, so I'm just doing my thing, man.
Looking forward to it. So yeah. Ray says, excuse me, great convo as usual. Love the insight and perspectives you share, Perry.
Thank you.
Frequency event promotion goes. Have a great weekend, everyone, and all. Keep up the great work, Dr. Vibe and Perry Douglas. Well, it's not hard work, it's heart work.
That's right.
All right. And one of the things someone told me a long time ago, it says, where the mind goes, the person follows.
I got no words after that.
Okay. All right, my brother. As always, thank you very much for taking the time and bringing the energy. If there's anything that I can potentially do, don't be afraid to ask. I can't do everything, but I'll try my best. And if I can't do it, there's other people. But 100%. I do the little I can with at least getting you to share your perspectives.
And that's all. Listen, that's all is required. Do what you can do. Right? That's it. All right, man. Much love. We'll talk later.
Yeah, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace.
100%, man. All the best. Have a good weekend.
Take care. All right. That is Perry Douglas and family. Did he not rock the house? Did he not rock the house? Hello, hello, hello. That was epic. So thanks for everyone who spent most of the time on this conversation. So appreciate it, not taken for granted. So as we wrap it up today, as always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show, especially on our YouTube platform. Want to hit 1,590 subscribers, so we're getting close to 1,600. Yay, yay, yay. And share it out. Tell people about it. And then like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of. Please email me at dr.vibe@vibe.com. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group at vibe@vibe.com. Coming up on this Monday show, Carolyn Nicole will be talking about consistency. So learning the tools to make healthy eating, exercise, and lifestyle habits a permanent way of life. And I'll be learning and taking digital and mental notes on this because that's something I'm having a challenge with. All right, 100%, 100%. Got another message here. Fitness IQ, what a conversation, right? Right? That was an epic conversation. As we say, Dr. Vibe, the home of epic conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. So as always, if you want to touch base with Ryan Knight, website, RyanO'NeillKnight.com, LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight, Instagram, @Ryan.Knight, and then the Knight is KNIGHT, by the way. So that's Ryan.Knight99. Email, workwithme at RyanO'NeillKnight.com. Myself, if you want to get in touch with me, website, the DrVibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram @The Dr. Vibe Show, X/Twitter @DrVibeshow, and email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. So as always, you can catch replays of this epic conversation on The Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight on YouTube, and Afro-Caribbean Business Network on Facebook. So that's it. Epic today, family. So as always, we finish off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember, as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. God bless. Peace to you all. Keep the faith. Walk good. And we'll see you on the Morning Vibe coming up on Monday. And if you're around tomorrow night, primetime Saturday with Isha and Lala. And we also have a Black Canadian King, Cesar Nadima Musa. They're going to be talking about the aftermath of this election. God bless. Peace to you all. Keep the faith and walk good.